All systems go. Clear for liftoff.
What is going on, SHIPIT Nation, YouTube station, Memorial Day edition here, Monday. We got a kind of a wonky slate going on here. We're going to do our best to break it down. It's going to be more FanDuel focused today with FanDuel main slate locking in a couple hours here, 2 hours and 15 minutes, give or take. Locks at 3:10 Central Standard Time here. DraftKings already did lock. The only game going right now is that Baltimore game. Next game's about to have the first pitch here shortly with the Twins there. Twins and the Royals, and then the Blue Jays and the White Sox. There is some weather to monitor in that Twins game, so keep an eye on that. Kevin and Ross' latest update on that one is kind of yellow-orange, so there is definitely some concern in that game. But we are going to be focusing on the FanDuel main slate here. We'll talk about that late game a little bit, as DraftKings does have some nice prize pools for that 2-game night slate tonight. That does include that Houston game. Off the top, Hamwich, I do want to let the people know in the chat that Dodgers and Mets game is postponed. So if you do have lineups going right now on DraftKings, make sure you have no players from that Dodgers-Mets game. No pitchers, no Gavin Stone, none of that, no Shohei Ohtani. Get them out of your lineup because they will not accrue fantasy points there. But Hamwich, I'll bring you in, man. Happy Monday. Happy Memorial Day. How was your holiday weekend, man? What's going on, brother?
Yeah, no, happy Memorial Day. Yeah, good weekend. You and I crushed it on Friday night. And for anybody that was listening to the show, we could talk about that here in a minute. Just saw the news that Bill Walton passed away. RIP to that great, not only player, but a good character. But it was a good weekend overall. We crushed it over here at the Nation. My guy Tambo absolutely dominating in the golf streets. We're crushing in the baseball streets. It's a great time to be a part of the Nation. And look, there you go.
Yeah, Tambo had himself a nice little weekend there in that PGA contest. Obviously taking some screenshots of our content right in the Discord there. Lee Aldrich, guy does our course fit rankings and our value report there. And you see in the top right, our course fit rankings right there. Mr. Davis Riley ranking number 1. I think he won by 5 strokes at 5,800. It's pretty tough to ship a tournament in the PGA streets when you have a guy that's sub 6K that wins the tournament outright. So course fit rankings, all the core plays and the knowledge in the Discord. We still have PGA full swing going on. We have NASCAR going on full swing. It was just the Coca-Cola 600. I had myself a nice little weekend there, a nice little Sunday, despite the early finish in the NASCAR streets. We got you covered over there. We got you covered in all sports, including MLB right now. It is a little slower time of the year, obviously, as NBA winds down, NHL winds down, but shortly after NFL, what everybody loves. Right now, you can get in over at the Nation monthly MLB package for just over $1 a day. That'll get you through the summer, get you some MLB content 7 days a week, get you in there, make you competitive, hopefully ship a couple tournaments are there leading into NFL. And then, hey, NFL rolls around, you want to upgrade to All Access Pass. Pretty hassle-free to upgrade. You can message us in the Discord. We can upgrade that package to All Access there, get you access to all of that. But how much? Let's go ahead and jump right in on this Monday. Gonna talk FanDuel, like I said. We're going to start pitching. And Michael King all the way up at the top facing those Miami Marlins. This game is not on the DraftKings slate, so do be wary of that. Obviously, DraftKings did already lock their main slate. They split the slate up differently than FanDuel did. So today, nature of the beast on this holiday, we're going to focus on FanDuel. So we're going to go 8K and above pitching. We're going to go Lance Lynn, Taijuan Walker, Nick Lodolo, Charlie Mort, and Michael King there. Michael King definitely going to be super, super high owned on FanDuel in particular. I mean, upwards of 50% ownership, I'm assuming here. Gets a nice matchup at home in a pitcher's ballpark against the fish out of the water here. Break down this top tier range for me, and then any what are you kind of looking at in terms of pivots off of King and Morton, the two highest owned guys right now?
Yeah, let's just start at the top of me because really there's only going to be 4 pitchers up in this range. You got Gavin Stone, who's not obviously eligible with the rain out. Michael King is going to be popular, striking out 30% of right-handed batters, and rightfully so. He's got a good pitcher's ballpark to deal with. Is this Marlins? Yeah, this Marlins lineup is not out yet, but it looks like they're going to trot out 5 righties in the projected lineup. That's just not a recipe for success for them. A team that already struggles. They traded away Arise, who is playing against the Padres today, playing against his former team. But Michael King, very good pitcher in this slate, small slate. So Michael King is definitely going to be up there. Charlie Morton's going to be popular. When we talk about it all the time, I feel like Nades. They get Lane Thomas back today, but they just don't strike out a whole ton. So Uncle Charlie did good his last time out. I forget who he was playing against, but he did had a very good outing his last outing. My favorite pitcher on this slate is going to be Nick Lodolo. I just love the strikeout upside that he has. Now, this Cardinals team doesn't strike out too terribly much against left-handed pitching from what I'm looking at, especially over the last 14 days. But this Lodolo kid has got filthy stuff. He's got the best strikeout stuff, in my opinion, on this slate when you're ranking these guys. Got a swinging strike percentage against right-handed batters at 18%. Cardinals are trotting out. I saw it earlier, but let me just confirm. How many righties are they trotting out? It looks like they're trotting out 6 righties. So Nick Lodolo would be my favorite of those 3 I just mentioned. Then finally, Taijuan Walker. I think he's in play over on FanDuel. One pitcher site. This Giants team's been a little bit better. They're not going to scare you too much. But Taijuan Walker would be number 4 for me in that range. Then I'm completely out on Lance Lynn. I read your slate plan and I agree with what you said. I just can't do Lance Lynn. I like the Reds more than Lance Lynn.
Yeah, no, excellent breakdown there. I agree with you. If I were to play on FanDuel here tonight, it'd be Michael King for me. I'm okay eating that chalk. There's enough ways to get different in bats. I just like the matchup a ton. If I were not to play him, I would definitely probably play a Taijuan Walker up at the top tier if I had to pick a guy, but realistically, I just dropped down to some other guys that I'm going to talk about there. Flipping it over to DraftKings, obviously these games have not locked yet that we're talking about. For the DraftKings slate, realistically, right, only the 3 games locked, the Toronto game, Kansas City, Minnesota game, and then that Boston-Baltimore game. Realistically, the only pitchers in those 2 early games that a lot of people are going to be playing is going to be Joe Ryan and Chris Bassett. So those 2 guys, in terms of the DraftKings pricing, Nick Lodolo at 9,800 on DraftKings, I just can't get up there. I mean, if I were to spend up there, I'd get up to Joe Ryan or drop down, play a Chris Bassett or a Charlie Morton. Charlie Morton, especially on DraftKings, going to be probably 40+% ownership here, mega chalk against these Nationals, and that's just not a spot that I like to play, right? I like Chris Bassett a lot more at a slimmer price point, and I like some of these cheaper guys that we're going to talk about here shortly. So for me, up at the top tier in terms of DraftKings, it was really Joe Ryan and Chris Bassett is all I'd be interested in. Flipping it back over to FanDuel here, outside of, like I said, outside of our guy up at the top, Michael King, I really have no interest in any of these guys over 8K. Not going to play Lance Lynn. I did write a Lance Lynn up on DraftKings just due to the $7,200 price point. I said you can play both sides of that game. The pitching overall is pretty gross, so that's why Lance Lynn made the pool there. But I actually ended up stacking against Lance Lynn in my main team with the Reds. We'll talk about the Reds bats here in a little bit. So pretty much anything over 8K on FanDuel, it's Michael King for me. And then on DK, pretty much more of the same, like I just gave you my synopsis there. Let's touch on some of these guys below 8K in terms of FanDuel pricing. Number 1, Justin Steele gets a matchup in Milwaukee against this Brewers team who actually does struggle against left-handed pitchers, right? They have a lot of lefties in that lineup, a lot of young kids. They usually have a splits advantage, but not when you throw a lefty out on the hill. So Justin Steele, I definitely have a decent amount of interest in him, especially on FanDuel at 7,700. Really like him a lot at 7K on DraftKings. Robert Gasser, who's been pitching good, but I think is kind of due for some regression. He's at 7,500. Blake Snell on FanDuel going to pick up a decent chunk of ownership. Pitcher's ballpark at home against this Phillies team who you've picked on all season long, and outside of their home ballpark there on the road, they're striking out about 27% against left-handed pitching on the road this season. So touch on that. And then any of these other cheap guys, Parkers, any Trevor Rogers, any of those guys down at the bottom.
Yeah, really for me, it's and I really like him today. Robert Gasser, the Brewers great. I wish Newlands was in the chat. He says I never give any love to to Milwaukee, to all my fellow Wisconsin friends up there. But man, Robert Gasser to me is a great play today, especially on DraftKings where it's a 2-pitcher site. Just look at what the Cubs have done over the last 14 days versus left-handed pitching. 0 home runs, 1 stolen base, 3 doubles, 4 runs, 0.021 ISO, and that's in 150 plate appearances. Robert Gasser, I really like him tonight. I think, you said you think he's going to regress. I think he may regress, but it's not going to be tonight. I like Robert Gasser, especially on DraftKings. I don't mind him on FanDuel as well. 1-pitcher site, you're going to get extremely different. No one's going to play him, but he would be my favorite of the bunch down here. And then, Blake Snell, I think, is fine. I mean, the Phillies actually, I have picked on them. I feel like they don't do very well. I played Trevor Rogers against the Philadelphia Phillies. So I think I'm going to take, Mr. Cy Young himself, Blake Snell. But the Phillies have done a lot better, especially over the last 14 days versus lefties. Blake Snell's fine, but for me, it's Robert Gasser down in this range, then all the big boys up top.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. You come on here and slander these Phillies. It seems like every show, and they're off to the best start in franchise history over here, leading the league there in record and run differential, everything like that, all categories. But it's kind of interesting slate, right? It's obviously when we were breaking it down from a DFS perspective, right? Wins could mean 2-1, 1-0 type stuff that doesn't typically bode too well for fantasy production. But for me down here, Justin Steele is going to be my SP1 below 8K on FanDuel. I really like him a ton at 7K on DK as well. I think Robert Gasser is fine. I just like the Cubs bats a little bit more against Gasser here on this slate. Guaranteed nothing at bats, decent hitting park there in Milwaukee. And I think Gasser's been flirting with some recipes for his success. I mean, he's still a sub 15% strikeout rate over the course of the season here at home. So I don't mind him at 7,500. I'd rather just get up $200 and go to Justin Steele on FanDuel. And then on DK, Justin Steele is going to be higher owned, but I'm not too worried about that either. So Justin Steele, my favorite guy. Blake Snell down at the bottom, I think he's fine. But realistically, I'm not a Blake Snell guy. And on FanDuel, I would be looking to Michael King, Justin Steele, and then probably Lodolo if you needed another guy just with a high upside arm. He's going to throw his pitches. He's got a big arm there. Cardinals have been struggling all season long. And I like the Reds bats behind him. So on FanDuel, it's pretty much those 3 pitchers that I'm focusing on. And then DraftKings, I already gave the breakdown there. I really like Justin Steele a ton on DraftKings. Go ahead and rank your top pitchers here before we go game by game.
I'm going to go Lodolo 1, Michael King 2, Charlie Morton 3. Then I'm going to put Robert Gasser 4 for me on tonight's slate.
Yeah, no, excellent breakdown there. I'm going Michael King 1, Steele number 2, and then I'll go Nick Nadolo number 3. I'm fading the Charlie Morton chalk here tonight. I'm just doing it. I'm not going to pick on these Nationals team, right? Lane Thomas is back in there. CJ Abrams, my boy's in there. This team just doesn't strike out a ton. Charlie Morton just has not have a ton of strikeout stuff this season, right? Sub 20% on the year against the team like the Nationals that just don't strike out. They put the ball in play. They can steal bases. So I'm fading the Charlie Morton chalk. I kind of ate the Bassett chalk on DK, so got to get different elsewhere. So for me, it's King. It's Justin Steele, my really preferred guys, and then Lodolo as kind of a tournament upside arm that can match the ceiling of a King or a Morton on FanDuel is kind of where I'm looking. Let's go game by game. First game on the slate is that Dodgers-Mets game that is postponed due to weather. So we're actually going to jump over and we're going to hit this game is on DK. So both these guys, let's break it down both ways, right? This game does start at 3:10, 4 p.m. or 4:10 Eastern time. Is included on the DK slate and the FanDuel slate here. It's the Chicago Cubs. It's the Milwaukee Brewers in Milwaukee. Gasser on the hill, Justin Steele on the hill. In terms of both the Brewers lineup is confirmed, about a 24% strikeout rate against left-handed pitching over the course of this year at home. I don't think some of these Brewers are crazy plays, right? But for me, I'm on team Justin Steele. And then I like these Cubs bats a little bit against Robert Gasser. I really like Dansby Swanson as a value bat there. Seiya Suzuki has pretty good numbers. The Cubs numbers overall is great, or don't look great over the course of the season against left-handed pitching on the road this season. But again, Robert Gasser, I'm just more stacking this team up as a very contrarian, low-owned stack on both sides, in my opinion here. Guaranteed 9th inning at bats against a pitcher that strikes out less than 15% of batters. So that's kind of the reason for the Cubs, just a low-owned offense, tournament play there. Definitely like a lot other offenses more, but I'll throw it over to you, Ham. Any interest in this game on FanDuel?
It would be one-offs for me. One-off for the Cubs would be Patrick Wisdom, first base, third base eligible. And then I really like William Contreras tonight. He's batting leadoff, taking on Justin Steele. He will pound Justin Steele this evening. William Contreras, my favorite Brewer.
Yeah, William Contreras hits lefties good, right? Gary Sanchez, Joey Ortiz, Willie Adames. They do have some lefty good hitters in there. It's just Justin Steele limits hard contact for me, has decent strikeout stuff. I just think he can navigate the lineup enough. So I like other offenses more. Prefer the Cubs in this one. Let's jump to the next game that we definitely have to spend some time on. It is on both slates here. It is in Coors Field, highest implied run total on the slate. Curry on the mound, Anthony Molina opening for the Rockies instead of Gomber. I'm not sure if Gomber's coming in after that or if it's the bullpen. Either way, it's the worst bullpen in baseball in Coors Field against a team that just doesn't strike out. Put the ball in play. Got to talk on these Guardians. I expect them to be heavy chalk on both sides here. I like them a ton. Really like Tyler Freeman. Really like Jose Ramirez. Stack them up anyway. David Fry's been having a great year. Josh Naylor. Will Brennan as a little cheap value guy in the back half of that lineup. Talk to me, Guardians and the Rockies. Any interest here?
Yeah, Guardians riding that 9-game winning streak. They've been rocking and rolling, obviously. Let's start with the easy stuff first. Absolutely no Colorado Rockies for me. Not so much because Curry's just a shutdown pitcher, but best bullpen in the majors. You talk about the Rockies having the worst. The Guardians have the best, so I'm just not going to the Rockies. If Curry struggles, they'll bring in some guys to shut him down. And, yeah, this Anthony Molina cat should go an inning, maybe 2, possibly 3, depending on how he's doing. But, man, these Indians or Guardians, are going to be very popular, and rightfully so. I think, really just looking at the lineup, I mean, you can go 1 through 9. Like you just said, Nades, you're going to have to get different with the Guardians. Ramirez obviously pops as he always does. Manzardo, I kind of like Manzardo. I think he's a rookie. He struggled a little bit, but I think he could come on in. He's got a great price. But, yeah, Guardians going to be my favorite stack, going to be the most popular stack, having almost 5.5 implied run total. Yeah, but give me them and then no Rockies for me.
Yeah, no, excellent breakdown there. I'm with you. Guardians 1 through 9, my 2 favorite, Ramirez, Tyler Freeman. And then on the Rockies, did want to call up Tovar on shortstop just because on DraftKings, if people didn't spend up to Gunnar Henderson or Ellie De La Cruz, I think the next de facto guy is Tovar on DraftKings. So in terms of DraftKings lineups, obviously that slate did lock, right? Gunnar Henderson was the first game off the bat there. Ellie De La Cruz locks with this locking time as well, with the remainder of these games we're going to talk about. So Tovar at 4,600, batting second here tonight. I do think he gets a decent amount of ownership on DraftKings just due to position eligibility there. I don't mind some of these Rockies. It's just not a spot. I typically don't like stacking the Rockies. I just haven't done it, even though they are in Coors Field. I just typically always stack the away team. Usually if I'm going to Coors Field, that is the chalkier route, but I like these Guardians. They're playing good baseball right now. Guaranteed 9th inning at bats against a bad bullpen behind this Molina guy. Freeman, Ramirez is where I'm going. Tovar, I think, is fine on DK. Just if you can't get up the $2,000 or $1,500 extra dollars to get up to Ellie De La Cruz, who I love tonight, or if you didn't play Henderson, I think you can go there, but not stacking the Rockies personally for me on either site here. Let's jump to the next game here. St. Louis and Cincinnati. This is my favorite stack of the board. Great American Small Park here. I haven't looked at the weather, but I think that's about 15-mile-an-hour winds blowing out the left field. I haven't looked at the temps, but I do assume that it's pretty warm there in Cincinnati. Temperatures in the upper 80s, 15-mile-an-hour winds blowing out to left field. I love these Reds here tonight. The Reds are my favorite stack of the evening against Lance Lynn, who I do think on DK in particular at 7,200 picks up some ownership just due to the nature of the pitching slate over there. Talk to me in terms of FanDuel and DraftKings. Where are you going for these Reds? Candelario's back in that lineup now. They got some cheap bats throughout this lineup, especially on FanDuel. I mean, I expect this to be a very high-owned team. over on FanDuel. I mean, look at the back half of their lineup: 3,300, 2,700, 2,700, 25, 28, 2,900, all under 3K basically for a majority of this lineup. Only 2 hitters over 3,300 in this lineup. So talk to me on the Reds. And then Cardinals, I don't think you have any interest in the Cardinals against Lodolo, but maybe I'm wrong here.
Yeah, let me just you made a great point because Lodolo, I do love him, but if you wanted to get very different, I do think a Cardinals stack, especially of the top 5 guys, I think that's in play, or at least the mini. I'm not going to personally do it because I do like Lodolo, but these Cardinals have been hitting left-handed pitching very well, especially over the last 14 days. So I don't think it's the craziest thing in the world to stack these Cardinals. Once again, I'm not going to do it, but yeah, you can never go wrong with Goldie, Arenado, two right-handed mashers historically. So I don't think that's out of the equation. And I would agree with you on the flip side, the Reds, my second favorite stack over there on FanDuel right behind the Guardians. My favorite Red, and I hate it that he's batting down here, but he's going to be unowned. It's going to be Will Benson. 3,600 on DK, 2,900 on FanDuel. He's my favorite Red. I love Jake Fraley as well. He's got power. He steals bases. So, yeah, you're going to need to get different with those guys. But Benson, number 1. Fraley would be my second favorite. Then, obviously, Ellie in there as well. So, yeah, give me these Reds going up against the Red Birds tonight.
Yeah, give me all the lefties on Cincinnati. I don't care if Hamlich was out there batting from the left side of the plate. Lance Lynn is just absolutely atrocious against lefties. Sub 20% strikeout rate, power through the roof, tons of hard hits, tons of fly balls, and you got a lot of lefties that smash the baseball in here. Jacob Hurtubise, I think is how you pronounce it. If not, that's how I pronounce it, and that's the way we're going to roll with. I expect him to be pretty popular on DraftKings at 2,500, even on FanDuel at his price. I expect him to be pretty popular. Bat and leadoff here, 2,500 on both sides. Ellie De La Cruz, my favorite player in the entire slate. Candelario there. Jake Fraley's in the lineup. Nick Martini. Will Benson. Like I said, I'm starting with all the lefties first. Mix and match them. You can build a nice wraparound stack there. A Martini, a Benson, Jacob up at the top, De La Cruz, and then a Candelario. Do like a 7-9-1-2-3 is a nice way to go there. Add in the righties. Obviously, you can always play them guys. Spencer Steer, Tyler Stevenson has been hitting the baseball well. 1 through 9 for me, firmly in play against the Reds. Lance Lynn is just not any good against lefties, so that's why I'm starting there. On the Cardinals side, really 2 bats only that I have interest in, just looking at the numbers over the last 30 days against left-handed pitching. Mason Wynn, another shortstop play. If you need another shortstop play, you can't afford all the way up. He'd be my favorite kind of value shortstop at 3,200 bat leadoff, guaranteed 9th inning at bats. Definitely good. He can steal some bases. And then Alec Burleson actually hits lefties pretty decent. Lefty. He's got really good numbers over the course of the season. Lefty. So really just the 1-2 guys for me. Obviously, you could play Goldschmidt, you can play Arenado, but I just like other offenses more, so I'm not going to get to the Cardinals, really. I believe in the talent and the arm on Lodolo. Just be those 2 guys at the top for me. Let's jump to the next game here, and we got to talk about the Braves. The Braves at home, massive implied run total here at home against pretty weak lefty in terms of overall, right? Sub 17% strikeout rate on the road this season. Limits hard contact, but again, it's the Braves against the lefty there. And Sean Murphy in that lineup now. Austin Riley batting second. Some historic lefty mashers in this Braves lineup. Sean Murphy is definitely one to note. 3,500 hitting 5th here tonight. He's back in that lineup. RIP to Ronald Acuna, tearing his ACL. Man, sucks to see that, right? An incredible talent there. Incredible player. Hopefully he heals up. He's going to miss the remainder of this season, but hopefully he comes back bigger and stronger next year. So definitely a blow to the Braves, but you lose a guy like that, that's 6,600, 6,500. It's easier to stack up. Talk to me on these Braves. Talk to me on these Nationals. I think the Nationals are kind of interesting against the chalk and Charlie Morton, but definitely not one of my core stacks by any means. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I saw Ronald yesterday. I cored Ronald yesterday, leadoff double. I'm just, man, it's going to be a great day for Ron. And then that happens, was just obviously terrible to see. Get well soon, Ron. Second time, I think, in 2 or 3 years that he's torn a different ACL. But in any event, it's a new look Braves, right? You get I'm drawing the guy that's coming back tonight. You get him back. You get Austin Riley back. It's a new look Braves team. You got Ozzie Albies batting leadoff. They're going to be popular as well against this Mitchell Parker character that they're going up against. So, yeah,
Definitely have some interest in the Braves. It would be more minis for me. Tonight, Austin Riley, the return of Austin Riley going up against a lefty. You got to like that. And then some of the guys in the bottom half of the lineup, Duvall, who had a bomb yesterday, don't mind him. But, yeah, give me some of those Braves. And then on the Nats side, they're a pesky bunch. And like you said, you get Lane Thomas back. You got C.J. Abrams, who obviously is a good player. I think Mini is okay. I won't be personally doing it. You got Eddie Rosario taking on his former team. I don't think it's the craziest play in the world, Nades, to take some of those Nats, especially, like you said, against the chalky Charlie Morton. I certainly don't hate it on a small slate.
Yeah, I mean, it's 85 degrees in Truist Park there in Atlanta with winds kind of blowing from right to left a little bit, kind of out to left field pole, left foul pole line kind of thing is what I'm seeing at about 10 miles an hour or so. So a little bit of boost there for weather as well. Braves on FanDuel are my top stack. I will note that right now at their prices on FanDuel. I think this is just way too cheap. I mean, 3,500, 3,100, the only one bet in Marcell Ozuna over 4K. I think this is just ridiculous. Adam Duvall at 2,800, probably my favorite bat of the slate on FanDuel at 2.8K. Pair him with Sean Murphy. Nobody plays catchers ever on FanDuel just because obviously you get a catcher first base and a util spot. So most people are playing first base there in that catcher first base spot. To play two of them, like a Matt Olson, right? Like a Sean Murphy, that's contrarian in itself because you have to burn up your utility spot there. Braves, my top stack of the board on FanDuel in particular. Definitely like them on DK, but a little bit less on DK just due to their salaries, right? They're a lot more expensive on DK to stack up besides the back half of that lineup, right? Sean Murphy, I think, is great on both sites. Adam Duvall is great on both sites. I think that's a really nice mini stack there, 3,500. 3,300 on DK, fills a catcher position and an outfield spot. I like that. Back half of that lineup in general, but really like them on FanDuel a ton. In terms of the Nationals, not a team that I really want to stack a ton. Luis Garcia, Eddie Rosario would be the two guys that I have a lot of interest in, and then Jesse Winker. Pretty much just those three bats, mainly picking off two of those three, just to target the ownership on Charlie Morton. He struggles a little bit with some control to left-handed batters as well. A little bit of power as well. So realistically, just some lefties against Charlie Morton. Those three would be my preferred guys. Not going to full 5-man stack these Nationals here tonight. Let's jump. That covers the DK slate. We got 2 games left to talk about here that do encompass the FanDuel main slate here. First game on it, Phillies and the Giants. This game is, again, not on DraftKings main slate or the afternoon slate. I think this game might be like on the turbo or something, or after. I haven't looked, but it's not on the night slate either. The next 2 games are on the night slate for DraftKings. So kind of a lone ball game here. It is important for FanDuel. Want to throw it over to you. Phillies and the Giants, not a great hitter's park here. 2 decent pitchers. If I were to pick a side, it'd definitely be the Giants against Taijuan Walker. Talk to me, Phillies and the Giants here.
Yeah, this one's a cross off for me, Nades. This ballpark, just not playing it. I can't think of a night where the winner had either a Giant or the Giants' opponent in their lineup. It's just not a park that you're going to win that often. And I'm going to continue that trend tonight. First game out of Coors Field, we always talk about it, not playing that game, and then not taking the Giants, who struggled to score runs. I feel like against the Mets, only scored 3 yesterday. But yeah, cross off game for me. Yeah,
when we have Great American Small Park on the slate, we have the Brewers Stadium, which is a decent hitting park, and we have Coors Field. There's just no reason to get here for bats for me, so I have no interest really in this game. I'd have more interest in Blake Snell just due to Phillies coming out of Coors Field, right? But outside of that, realistically, no interest in terms of bats. Another great, not a very good hitter's park here. More of a pitcher's park here in San Diego. Michael King on the mound. Trevor Rogers, your boy Trevor Rogers. You got a thing for Trevor Rogers, it seems, all season long. Every time we come on the show, you're mentioning Trevor Rogers, playing him against the Dodgers, playing him against the freaking Braves. I mean, you name it, playing him against the NL All-Star team, right? Or the AL All-Star team. You're going to put, it doesn't matter. Trevor Rogers, it comes out of Hamwich's mouth here. So, Hamwich, I'll throw it over to you, man. Any interest in any of these Marlins against Michael King, who's going to be the mega chalk on FanDuel? For me, it's a no, but maybe you pull a Jake Berger, maybe pull a Jesus Sanchez, something like that. And then any of these Padres against your boy your beloved Trevor Rogers here.
Oh, good old T-Rod. Last time I touted T-Rod, he gave up like 17 earned runs in the first inning, I feel like, against those fighting fields. But, hey, I think these Padres are a sneaky stack tonight. I mean, no one's going to play them. And you obviously got some big boppers over there in Tatis, Machado, Don Kim, Cronenworth, Arise taking on his former team. I don't think they're the worst stack. I mean, it's more minis for me. I mean, Tatis leading the way. And then, yeah, Michael King, I mean, he's going to be chalk, but you said it in the opening as well. I'm willing to eat that chalk. This Marlins team just doesn't strike fear in me. And it's hit a whopping 2 home runs in the last 140 plate appearances. So, yeah, not very good. Give me Michael King. No Marlins for me, and I'm okay with some Padres minis.
Yeah, I think Padres are decent, but realistically, looking at the numbers against left-handed pitching on the season, really Manny Machado and Profar are the only guys. Don Kim a little bit, but outside of those guys, Profar, Machado, and Kim, really no interest in these Padres. They just struggled against lefties as well. They get a pretty bad lefty overall here in Trevor Rogers, but again, I just like the other ballparks better. I'm a huge ballpark guy, huge weather guy in MLB DFS. It's been working for me all season, so I'm not going to change it here. Long way of saying no interest in these later 2 games on FanDuel in terms of bats, which makes me like it even a little bit more, right? Because I really like those other spots we talked about that are on the DraftKings slate as well. One last game on the slate. This game is included on the DK night slate with that Miami-San Diego game. There is some pretty good prizes on DraftKings for that night 2-gamer with the Marlins and the Padres. And then this last game, parks are pretty bad overall in terms of the nature of the 2-game slate, being in San Diego and being in Seattle. Bryce Miller on the hill, Framber Valdez on the hill for the Astros. Any interest in any Mariners and any Astros bats for you in terms of that 2-game slate?
Yeah, I think I only have interest in one team, and that would be the Astros. Astros have been piping red hot. So, yeah, give me some of these Astros taking on this Mariners ball club. Certainly don't mind them. Kyle Tucker can play him. Yordan Alvarez, Jake Myers. I'll throw the name Jake Myers out there. Really like Jake Myers tonight in this contest against Seattle and Bryce Miller.
Yeah. I'm with you. I like these Astros a ton here. My favorite stack of the 2-game slate, mainly the lefties. Looking at Bryce Miller over the last 30 days, sub 20% strikeout rate, 2 left-handed batters, almost a 300 opposing ISO. And guess what? You have 2 of the best lefty hitters in all of baseball in Kyle Tucker, Yordan Alvarez, and then my boy, John Singleton. Very nice price point. First base there. He's been smashing the baseball, especially over the last 30 days. Sub 15% strikeout rate. ISO north of 250. I mean, looking at Bryce Miller's numbers over the last 30 days, tons of power, tons of fly balls, almost a 41% fly ball rate to left-handed hitters. Give me these lefties in this lineup. If another lefty cracks it, I really like them. Stack around them with a Bregman, with a Pena, with a Jake Myers. Really, really like Alvarez, Kyle Tucker, and Singleton. Jake Myers would be my 4th favorite. I'm with you there. And then a Bregman. Those are kind of my 5 favorite hitters there from the Astros. Astros, my favorite stack on that 2-game. Don't expect them to be very low owned by any means. But, again, I like 2-game slates. You can get a little different. Don't be afraid to play a pitcher or a batter against a pitcher or 2 batters against your pitcher. Hey, maybe that pitcher goes out, throws 4 or 5 shut innings, get you enough points in terms of enough to be optimal, and then those batters get to the bullpen. Typically not a thing you want to do on a main slate, but on a 2-game slate definitely does make a lot of sense there. Hammuch, I'll throw it over to you. Any closing remarks for the people in terms of the FanDuel main slate and then any of these other games we talked about in terms of DraftKings slates as well?
Yeah, typically on these smaller slates, I kind of throw ownership out the window. I mean, you can use it as a guide a little bit, but, hey, everybody's going to be quote-unquote popular, right? With so few games, you're going to look up, you're going to see guys that are 20, 30, 40%. I think that's okay today. I wouldn't do anything where you're playing a player against your pitcher. I think we got enough teams to avoid that. Normally, I'm a 5-2-1, 4-3-1 on FanDuel, 4-4, 5-3. I think it's okay to kind of mix it up a little bit too. If you wanted to, have 3 teams, 3 quote unquote little minis in your lineup, I think that's okay in a smaller slate as well.
All right. Well, I'll throw it over to you. do you got a home run call for the people from any of these games that have not locked yet, starting with the game in Coors Field and beyond? Throw it over to you, man. Who's your home run call for this Memorial Day?
Hey, man, we got to talk about what we did Friday night. We went 4 for 4 for the people. We had I had Fairchild and Alonzo. You had Adele and
back. Adele and Logan O'Hop, 6th and the 8th inning, boom, there late in the game. Hey, it doesn't matter how late in the game they get it there, but they both put one over the wall there. So that was, we went 4 for 4 on home run calls on Friday. If you would have parlayed all 4 of those together, man, you'd probably be taken off of work this whole next month because that would have had to pay pretty good. I think it was 25-1 on the bet you placed on just your 2. If you would have added in my 2 as well, man, that would have been a pretty payday. I'll tell you that right now.
We should have done it. But, yeah, I mean, I got to give the people 2 more. I got 2 that I liked. One I really like. One's scary, but I still like it. I've kind of alluded to it. My first one, he's batting 9th. Will Benson for those Chicago Reds. Cincinnati Reds, really like Will Benson to take one over the wall. My second one is going to be the leadoff hitter for Milwaukee, my favorite one of the night, William Contreras. Hey, that one pays 90-1 today, I believe. So Benson and Contreras, both home run tonight.
All right. Well, I got to keep the rolling. I got to keep the train rolling too. I'll give the people 2. My favorite one is Adam Duvall hitting 6 here tonight for these Atlanta Braves. Good weather there, 3,300. Love him on both sites there. Solid one-off. I really like Adam Duvall a ton there. And then, hey, I'm going to my favorite stack of the day. I'm going to the shortstop position. Elly De La Cruz going to steal 2 bases and hit a home run here today. Posted in the Discord earlier. Elly De La Cruz. He's going for a 100 stolen base season. He's on pace for about 99, I believe. Hopefully he steals 2 bases here today and hits a home run. Elly De La Cruz, Marcell Ozuna, or Adam Duvall, are my 2 home run calls. Let's see if we can run it back, how much. But that's going to do it for this MLB Witching Hour show here. I did see that Minnesota game. First pitch did get underway. So, hey, hopefully that rain holds off for anybody who played Joe Ryan out there. I personally did not get all the way up to Joe Ryan, but he was definitely in a good spot there. SP1 on the slate in general, de facto, by the nature of the slate. How much? Any closing remarks?
No, good luck in your contest. And, hopefully we see a couple at the top of the leaderboard tonight.
Yeah, let's do it. Hopefully we close out this holiday weekend with a bang here and some extra money in our pockets. For Hamwich, I'm Nadesify. Good luck tonight in those contests. Hope to see those SHIPIT Nation logos at the top. Let's ship it.